Hey everybody, welcome to Live with Pelado Creations. I've got a few different projects that I'd like to get done. I'm putting it up to a vote. What would you guys like to see tonight? I am thinking about making a stand, stands, plural. My wife bought two hanging plants from the Costco a little while back, but she doesn't want them to hang. She wants me to make little stands that are, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall, so that the flowers can hang down off to the side of the plant, um, but not actually be hanging. So that's one of the options in the poll. Um, my daughter said that I should make something on the lathe, so that's another option in the poll. Um, let's see. Oh, I want to make a in-feed and out-feed support for my bandsaw. So that's another option. And then the other option in the poll is other, in which you get to decide what I should do by telling me in the chat. So what project should I be working on? Make your voice known in the poll. And I will take a gander at the poll results at the moment, see if anyone's voted at all. Nope. So, oh, you know what? Am I even live? Yeah, I am. Showing as public. So I think what that means is that you all want me to do nothing, and that might be my best option tonight. um, maybe that's what I should do. What do you guys think? Should I just call it good? End the live with no project done? One way to do it, right? So let's see. Still, I'm not seeing any votes yet. So should I turn something on the lathe? Should I build in-feed and out-feed support for my bandsaw? Should I make the stands for the hanging plants that my wife requested? Or should I do a different project? Let me know in the poll and or the chat what your preference is. So, oh, we've got, looks like the lathe is winning at the moment. Got 100% on the lathe. So, anyone else feel differently, or should we just go with the lathe and call it good? Um, I've got maple and willow and oak and cherry. Let me know in the chat, what do you think I should turn on the lathe? My daughter's suggestion was a wooden spoon. So if you like that idea, obviously I wouldn't be able to do the entire spoon just on the lathe, because as far as I know, you can't really scoop things out on the lathe. But you know, do something. So yeah, let me know in the chat if you think the spoon idea is good, or you want me to make something else. But right now, lathe is winning in the projects that I should do poll. So I'm going to start getting that ready, which means I'm going to have to clear out the space where the lathe is hiding behind the miter saw. So let me move the miter saw to expose the lathe. I'm going to grab a chunk of willow here. Here's a chunk of willow right there. That should be big enough for a spoon, maybe big enough for other things too. Let me also look at my options for maple. Let's see here. That might work for, well, probably not. So let's see. Am I doing, let me change my view here to, there we go. You can kind of see in the corner there. So this is certainly big enough for a handle of a spoon. This is big enough for the big part of the spoon. What do we even call that? The scoopy part. But turning it on the lathe, it's going to want to turn in the center, and there's not enough material here other than just in this corner. So I'd have to pin it there, and there's just not enough spoon area here. And plus I've got knots there that'll make it pretty much impossible to turn properly. Not that I have a ton of experience on the lathe. I'm a novice. I've only used it a couple of times so far. Let me see what else in my maple supply might. I don't really want to cut up a bunch of stuff, but yeah, let's see. I could also do something out of cherry. Got some cherry wood here that I could do something out of. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat what you guys want to see made. All right, I think I'm just going to try making something out of willow. You know what? Let's do this. Let me sharpen things first. So I'm going to angle this guy out. So does that, nope, too far away. Hey, I can reach power now. All right, so I'm going to try sharpening my lathe tools first. Because I did use them a fair amount the other day. Not all of them, but some of them anyway. So here are the Delta lathe tools. And I'm just going to clean them up on the belt sander. All right. So I'm going to grab some eye protection and some ear protection. And grab the first one, and then as I do this on the belt sander, I'm just going to rotate the thing, the tool. Oh, before I get going though, I want to turn on my dust collection so that I don't have shards of metal everywhere. I might still have shards of metal everywhere, but hopefully I get fewer shards of metal this way. All right, here we go. All right, that's probably good for now. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I coming through or not so much? Oh, hey, Scooby. Always wear a mask while you sharpen the bench grinder or electric sander since a friend decided to check his dust cost collector with a magnet and found tiny metal shavings from sharpening. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. I should probably be wearing the face shield instead of just the um, goggles, but I didn't. So I guess I'm a terrible person. All right, so let's disconnect power to the belt sander and take off the dust collection. And let's plug in ye old lathe. Although probably I should clean up whatever. Oh, got all sorts of stuff falling down around here. Probably I should clean up whatever piece I'm going to be turning before I put it on the lathe. So, kind of soft, but can hear you. Oh, really? Huh. Wonder why. I'm not trying to criticize. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm still learning quite a bit, man. I can use whatever instruction comes my way. Trust me. Um, Interesting though that the audio isn't very loud. You're definitely not a terrible person. Don't be so sure. Don't be so sure. Oh, it looks like we've got someone voted for in-feed or out-feed support for the bandsaw. Okay, interesting. But still, the lathe is in the lead. So, all right. So until that changes, I'm going to keep going on the lathe here. All right, so I was wanting to test the maple, but this slab is not going to work. Like I was saying before, it's got knots, big knots in the section that is most usable for turning. So obviously this thin stuff here isn't going to turn all that well. So that was you accidental vote. Your voice is a little stronger and louder now. Okay, that's probably just me trying to enunciate and power through a little more, so I'm not just mumbling through. Trying to take your feedback and improve, right? Hey, Vineyard, how you doing, Brian? Good to see you. Let's let me just show you the maple stack here. So, I mean, I've got plenty to choose from, but what do I want to chop up for practice on the lathe, basically? I mean, I could use that, but it's probably not thick enough to even do a spoon. I mean, well, maybe, but probably not. Well, it could be, right? Could be good enough. What do you guys think? Could I get a spoon out of that? I mean, we can try. What's it gonna hurt? What's it gonna hurt? Other than all of my pride. Huh. Let's see. What are those things sticking next to the pile of wood? You're talking about this stuff right here? These are the legs to a fire pit bench that I am redoing. These are some offcuts from the maple that I turned on the lathe the other day, poorly. This is the maple that I turned on the lathe the other day, poorly. And these are just some little wooden stands, basically, that some legs that I can use for something at some point. And I've got some stuff that this is a maple spoon that I had been carving with just a pocket knife, and it shows. It's pretty rough. And I think I've got another couple spoons that I carved with a pocket knife in here. Yeah, this one, this wider one is willow, I believe. And then this one, I believe, was cherry. And yeah, I just did those mostly with a knife, a pocket knife, or with chisel. So if those are the things that you were asking about that were poking up next to the pile of maple wood, then I've got some willow down there. Got a bunch of plywood and other odds and ends in this kind of plywood storage cart. I got some cedar up here that I salvaged from just some wood from the fire pit pile, and then up there is some oak that I salvaged from some hardwood flooring that someone was getting rid of. Back behind is a bunch of redwood that I salvaged from a deck that someone was getting rid of. Over here is some cherry wood that I salvaged from someone getting rid of some cherry branches. Over here is material from some shipping containers that someone was getting rid of. And so that's most of the wood supply in the shop, I think, probably. So let me just get the miter saw over here for a minute to clean up the ends of this guy. That's perfect. So plug him in as everything on the shelves of the miter saw cart falls over. And I'll plug in my Centec hose. I don't think I have the link for the Centec hose in the video description of the live, but I've got that in a bunch of my other long form videos. If anyone's really itching to get a Centec hose system for their shop. All right, so let's see, where's the piece that I wanted to chop up? There we go. I'm just going to put a clean end on it on both sides. And we get some eye and ear protection. Okay, go for it. Nothing about lathes or making spoons. Working on hand carving a knife to spread butter, jam. They look like your chewing stick. Have a lot of options. Yeah, I suppose so. Ooh, the lathe is back up to 75%. Actually, I don't know that it was ever at 75%, but that's where it is now. So Let's see. That right in there gets me past most of the cracking and chipping and stuff. All right. Throw that over here. Get the miter saw out of the way. And I'll try to pick up some of the pieces of debris that found their way onto the ground. It's always good to have lots of scrap everywhere. And the vacuum out of the way. Vacuum extension. Okay. It's almost midnight. Don't want to turn into a pumpkin. You gotta go. Hey, that's fine. Skidooby. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Always enjoy your live, seeing what I make. Hey, appreciate having you here, man. Appreciate having you. Thanks for being here. And appreciate everyone coming and participating in my live streams. Makes it much more enjoyable and engaging when people are here and participating. I like it. So you are welcome anytime, Skidooby. All right, let's see what we can do to make this as interesting as possible here. All right, I'm going to say that that is basically my halfway-ish point. And let me get ye old mallet over here to pound it on. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, thanks. Thanks again. We'll catch you next time. Skidooby. All right. My left hand doesn't want to get right back into where it was. So try and get that nice and secure. All right. And right about there seems about right. I'm just gonna lock this guy down. So part of the reason that I'm doing the maple is because I want to see, when I tried turning maple the other day, it didn't go that great. And I want to see if it's because of the tools being really dull, or if it's more because my, or if it was because the maple is a lot harder than the willow that I subsequently turned. So this is pretty much just the third thing that I've tried to turn ever. The first one was maple, the second one willow, and now I'm back to maple. So see how it goes. Hey Billy, thanks for being here. All right, so I'm going to put on my face shield and my hearing protection, even though this thing doesn't really get that loud. And we'll see how this goes. Let's see. Okay. Well, we're not off to a great start. There we go. Seems to be spinning. All right. Actually, the height was probably fine, but I need to adjust this over. I'm just using a continental gouge here, I think is what it's called. What to do? Hey, Mike is making stuff. Good to see you. Got these things a little bit sharper using the belt sander over here. And need to reposition again, getting a bit far away. Come over to this extreme. Actually, before I tighten that down, get it a little closer as well as, and not that close. Okay, try that. So the tools worked pretty well the other day through willow, but this is maple, which is obviously a lot harder than willow. So seeing how they do. I picked up some carbide tools, and I'm not sure if I'm going to hold on to them or if I'm going to return them. So this is part of what's helping me determine whether I want to hold on to the carbide tools or not. Let's see. How in the world is my For You recommending my own doggone live to me? That is a great question. I already saw it. Algorithm. Like, I was there. Oh, I'm glad you were at your own live, Mike. Wait, were you live tonight? I looked around. I didn't see you. You got Chewing the Poop scheduled for tomorrow, right? I'm not sure why, but sometimes the switch on this thing doesn't engage. I think probably it needs to get cleaned out or replaced, probably more so. All right. Just again, I wish this were a little easier to adjust the tool rest, but you know, I can't complain too much when the whole lathe and lathe stand and everything cost me just $10. So not going to complain too much. Feel like I've got this too high because I'm coming down at an angle instead of up. So I'm going to raise this up a bit or lower the tool rest so that the workpiece is elevated relative to the tool. Let's see. You have a gouge or skew. This is a gouge. So LJ at LJ Woodworks, Todd at LJ Woodworks told me that this is a continental gouge. He said this is either this one or this one he recommended for roughing out. And so I'm just starting with this. And I've got a couple of skews, a couple of I think 2 scrapers and a dividing tool. I'll show you the set here. So I've got three gouges, kind of the spindle gouge here, and then the 2 continental gouges, this one and the one that I'm using over there. A 1-inch skew, a 1/2-inch skew, a couple of scrapers, and then a dividing tool. I think this was supposed to be let's see, a curved scraper, I think is what it said in the description of the toolkit. And then I think that's supposed to be a scraper, but you know, it's cut more as a dividing tool. But this one's also, like you can see, whoever sharpened these before I got them, it really did a number on it. So I don't know what that originally was, but it's shaped more like a dividing tool now. Hopefully that answers the question you were wanting answered. Come back over to the chat here. Tomorrow, yes. Okay, sweet. Found out from the lathe guys, when you got that gouge, you're going left to right to twist it clockwise, 45 degrees to the right to and right to left the other way. Apparently, the technique is to try using more of the corners of it. Yeah, that's what Schaup, I think, was telling me during the live the other day, that basically if I'm going to the right, to turn it more like that. If I'm going to the left, turn it more like that. And I've definitely seen it work better that way. So that's what I'm trying anyway. I'm getting almost round over here. It's still got a ways to go, fair amount of bark there. So, all right, let's keep at it here. I feel like I'm getting a little too much distance there. So let's adjust here. Over here. Let's see. Be a little closer than that, I think. Son is texting me, so I'm in and out. Hey, no problem. Hey, Aussie Man Woodsman. Good to see you here. All right, let's see how we do. So if I'm going to make this a spoon, I'm not sure how well I'm going to do at this, but probably this is the section that's most suited for being a spoon. So I'm going to try to leave that mostly alone, and then come in after the fact and kind of hollow out whatever for it. What is that even called? The hollow part of the spoon? Is there a name for that? All right, so I want to remove stuff here, leave most of this, and then remove most of this, and just leave a thin handle. So this will be a super long-handled spoon, but I'll probably cut it over here a little bit, but maybe not. Or probably most likely I'll end up throwing it away or burning it because I don't know what I'm doing. Can you hear that chatter? That means it's still not round. So over here, it's a lot more round. In here, not so much at all. I feel like I'm still too high. Not from a drug standpoint, but just a tool standpoint. All right, so lowered that a little bit, and then I'm also going to get closer, especially right in here where it's, yeah, you can see how it's all, there's a big chunk missing here. So that's why this is not round at all. So I'm going to move the tool rest. Focus more over here. So I think the end of my spoon hollow part is going to be right in here. So I'm going to try to focus on removing a bunch of material from there down. Except I need to get a lot closer. Get a little closer with Arid Extra Dry. Do you think I would get a copyright strike for singing a commercial jingle? What do you guys think? Still jumping around a lot right here. Pretty round. All right. Let's see. Tracking camera isn't tracking so well when I've got my back to it. All right. Okay. Oh, that was the other thing. Now you advance the edge toward the side, told me to put the flat back of the tool on top, let it bounce, and only let it only come down until you get chips. Exactly. It's supposed to keep the wood from grabbing your tool and jack slapping you. You should make a fairly elaborate patio chess set. Okay. All right. Chess set. All right. Yeah. So holding the tool on top as it's spinning, if it just stays pretty smooth and doesn't bounce up and down, then you know you've got it round right there. So I think I've pretty much got it round in this area, that was kind of my problem area before. Um, and yeah, when you first start, they say to kind of come up, start at the top, and kind of work your way down until you start getting chips, and then that's where you know that where your bevel is making a cut, where it's slicing the wood instead of scraping or just butting up against it. So come to that point, and then you can kind of turn one way. And what I've noticed, especially with a tool like this, that um, I'll turn it not just that way, but I'll also kind of angle it a little bit this way, as I'm going one way to the other, especially if I've got a lot of variance with how thick it is, or how um, if I've got a lot of unevenness in the width, then if I bring it back a little bit more like this, then as I'm moving side to side, then it makes it a little easier to get stuff as I'm going to the side. If I just move it like this, then I'm more likely for it to bump up against the non-cutting edge. But if I have it more at an angle like that as I move side to side, then it's hitting that cutting edge instead. So that seems to work a little better. Um, hey, Lawrence, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Lawrence heard about a patio chess set, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in. I want to see that." Sadly, we haven't started any patio chess sets yet. But oh, the lathe is still in the lead. Good thing that we're on the lathe. All right. So I think this tool might be doling, because this is the only one I've used so far. What do you guys think? So let me try the other continental gouge and see how that one does. Now I left a significant burr on the edges of these when I sanded, or when I sharpened them on the belt sander. But I'm pretty sure that burr is going to disappear pretty quickly after a few passes on the lathe. I feel like I'm getting a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Flex as I'm going with this one, and this one's not leaving nearly as clean a path as the last one. Maybe I don't have it as sharp um, or as consistent maybe as on the other one. But yeah, that's a lot rougher than that was. Let's see if it does any better going forward. Yeah, it seemed to be doing a little bit better over here, but especially in the middle, it doesn't care for this one. So I'm thinking I maybe didn't do the greatest job of sharpening it, or maybe I wasn't as consistent across it as I needed to be, but I'm gonna leave that for the moment and go to my big ass skew. Um, might want to build a steady rest. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm going to bring the tool a little closer. The tool rest a little close. Well, that's like that's as close as it goes. And since I'm switching to the skew, I'll raise it up a little so that it's more coming straight at the workpiece instead of trying to come at an angle. Okay. Your tools should be real sharp so you don't break your piece. Keeps the wood from flexing so much. Good to know. Um, yeah, that I thought it was sharp, but maybe it wasn't. So we'll try this guy, see how he does. Yeah, just in the middle, anything I use, it's bouncing a lot. What do you guys think? I mean, that seems like an appropriate width for a spoon handle. Maybe I need to remove a little bit here, but let me just try using the spindle gouge a little bit. I'll get a lower this guy a little bit. Yeah, it just vibrates a lot, especially the closer I get to the center. I was thinking that, in spite of what Lawrence, I think, was telling me earlier, I was thinking that it might be better with a smaller tool than with the larger tool, the flex, because there's less pressure being put on the workpiece. But who knows? I know I don't. right. And for the rest of this, I think I'll just have to carve the rest of this off of the lathe. If I just assume that this is my spoon, hollow this out, and then, whew, that's hot. And then, kind of smooth this over. I'll have to remove some of that, but I don't want to remove any more width. And so I think if I do anything else on the lathe, it's going to cut into how much width I have on that spoon. So, all right, I think I'm going to go with sandpaper now. And because I had so much flexing going on, this is a lot rougher than it was after I used the that first gouge. Let's see. Ozzy asks if Larry likes chess. Larry says yes. Ozzy says hasn't played in years, but I'm still undefeated. Been trying to figure out how to make a 3D Star Trek chessboard. Can't cut the pieces straight enough. Never played that style, says Ozzy. Not very good at it. Had to spend 61 days in a naval hospital when I was 13 and learned while I was in there. Ooh, why'd you have to be in the hospital, Larry? I'm hoping that wasn't as an inpatient, but I'm a little concerned that probably it was. So I'm going to start with 60 grit on the sandpaper and hope that smooths it out pretty quickly. That's a lot better. Obviously, it's a little thinner right in here, so it's not quite as smooth there. Still have a lot of lines circling it because of the unevenness of my cuts. It's getting pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad at all. that might even be considered good. All right, I'm going to jump from 60 to 120. No, that's not 120. That's 120. There we go. Some pretty worn out 120, but it's good. And let's see, I thought I had some 180 over here. Let's see. Star Trek: The Next Generation. A girlfriend, future wife lives not far from you in Idaho Falls. Okay, cool. I am, yeah, so I'm in the Meridian area, near Boise. So Idaho Falls is, 3 or 4 hours away. Um, let's see, had to remove 63% of upper left lung lobe because I had a cyst that grew as I grew. Oh, wow. That's spinal surgery next month. Oh, wow, Ozzy. Man, people are dealing with stuff, man. All right. Wish you well, man. Wish you well. That's nice and smooth. So one of the cool things on this mesh sandpaper is seeing the cut or the sanding come through. You're seeing the sawdust come through the sandpaper. Check it out. Anyway, I think it's cool. And that's to 180. That's usually about as fine as I ever go. But I've got some 220 here, so might as well use it. Ooh, that's smooth. Um, Debating whether I should try removing a little bit more over here. I don't want to hit the um, whatever this piece is called, and I don't want to remove too much of my spoon hollow section. Why can't I think of the name of that part of the spoon? Is there a name for it? But I think I can safely remove some right there. So let me try moving over a little bit and seeing what I can do. right. And I think I'll stick with the spindle gouge here. Yeah, I can definitely avoid that. All right, that's about as far as I dare go. All right, what do you guys think? It's most of the reason you haven't been on your own channel. Yeah, it makes sense. Chuck, is this it? Is this a chuck? Because it's it's the deal that just pokes in. I thought the chuck was the deal that either squeezes down or pushes out, um, but I could be wrong. I guess I could just look at the label on the box here, right? Life Center wood lathe drive spur cup, 4 pieces with wooden case. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Let me try releasing it here. There we go. I really like that handle. That is super smooth. I don't have much confidence in my ability to carve. And I might actually, I don't really have any carving knives. So I might actually try to use the lathe tools, the gouges, to scoop this out. I guess I need to get some carving tools. Finish off that spoon. Oh, looks like I've got a little bit of a spot there that I didn't notice earlier. Part of the problem with this face shield is that this mesh, it protects me from stuff flying out, but it also makes it a little harder to see things because I've got this, this netting, this grid where it's way easier to see without it on. So I don't know if I would have caught that either way, but a little bit of an indentation. Had I realized it was there, I probably would have tried to go a little bit deeper. But I was also getting a lot of flex trying to use stuff in here. But I could have also just sanded it off with the 60 grit. So I didn't notice it. Hey, you know what? That did okay, you know? Need to figure out how to handle the flex when I've got something this thin. But, that's not a terrible result. I mean, this isn't great, but like that. I just call the parts that attach to wood chucks. Okay. The drive center. Okay. The drive center. That sounds right. That sounds right. The drive center, because then it's the center and it's driving. Then we've got the tailstock with the live center, right? The live center is on the tailstock that lets it spin freely. So live center, or not live center, the drive center and live center side. And I still have a little bit of chatter here. Didn't sand quite enough. So there's still, you know, some rings basically around it in places. And also I was sanding against the grain, which is really easy when it's on the lathe, but probably not the best practice in general. But yeah, this is being maple, that's really strong still, even with it being as thin as it is. I'm kind of pleased with that. That should be okay. Yes, live center. Gotcha. Sweet. Oh, now that I've been working on the lathe, the results on the pole have gotten worse. They're like, oh, we see what you're doing on the lathe. We don't like it. It was down to 62%. Let's see. Oh, and everything else is even. 1 vote for the hanging plant stands, 1 vote for the in-feed and out-feed support for the bandsaw, or I'm presuming 1 vote for each of the others, and then other describe in chat. So cool. All right. So do you want me to try to? You want me to? Do you want to struggle through or watch me struggle through trying to carve some of this, or save that for another day, or save it for off camera when you guys don't have to watch? Let me see here. Oh. Let me see if any of these gouges will let me do anything on it. So I'm going to bring this over to the vise. A little wider. All right. See how this does. I'm not sure how well it'll grip because it's above my above my center point of the vise thingy. So let's see if I can do anything with this. What do you guys think? Lawrence was gifted 3-piece of flex cut knives before they went up. Are those good? That's what we're here to watch. We're here for to watch you work. You know, my dad used to say something that resonated with me, and I feel it quite acutely, and that is, I love to work. I could watch it all day long. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. So hopefully it's level or higher than the lip of the workbench and vise. Hopefully it'll still hold. Well, looks like it'll come up, but hopefully I'm only exerting force down. So yeah, that doesn't want to do anything. I'm not getting my approach angle isn't steep enough, and my tool isn't sharp enough. So let me do some sharpening real quick. You guys all right with that? Go back to sharpening for a minute. Unplug the lathe. See if we've got enough cord to get back to the belt sander here. We do. Hooray. And I'm going to go back to just my eye protection instead of the face shield, because I'm ignoring what who was it that told me earlier. And I'm going to reconnect to my dust collection. Oh, and you know what else I didn't do earlier that I should have is I'm going to secure my belt sander down so that it doesn't vibrate and wander on the lathe stand. And that should make for a better situation. All right, so it can still rock back and forth, but at least this can't jump around on the stuff. All right, so let's see. Gather the tools to sharpen. I think this is everything I used. All right, and let's go. You're gonna buy Zenwu chisels next. Good tools. I'm not familiar with Zenwu. I'm not working my craft in the shop. I'm watching it on here. Yeah. You have belt dressing? I don't know. Bought a set of carving chili. Hmm. All right. So let's see if that does any better at all. I'm trying to use it as a chisel gouge thing. Carving chisels made by General Tools, but there's a palm set extremely sharp. Take your shoes off and use the sole to clean belt up. Good at using the scroll saw. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't. That's not doing any good. Let's try the next step down. Don't have much faith as I bump the. Oh, I got a little bit of a chip there. Oh, it's coming up here. I think I need to have it down a little more. Huh. Ooh. How about the spindle gouge? Getting a little bit there. Can you see that? See that little piece roll off? Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of dulling. So, not the greatest. So, what if I just use a pocket knife that I haven't sharpened in a while? Well, it's not fast, but I feel like it's working better than the gouges that I attempted there. What if I get out some chisels? They're just regular chisels, but let's see, that one's probably a little wider than I want to try using right now. This is a 5/8 inch. No. Yeah, this isn't going great. Better than trying to use the gouges, but still not the best. All right, so one thing that I was really surprised by when I started doing a little carving, and really I've done very, very little, but I was kind of surprised at how smooth the surface was left after, carving with a knife. Did a little bit of whittling, back as a, Cub Scout and Boy Scout when I was much, much younger, but haven't really done much since then. And probably back then, well, not just probably, but I know back then I was pretty much only working on, thin softwood branches that were pretty recently removed from trees. Instead of working with hard maple. Also, I'm quite sure that my knives were not particularly sharp because I did not know what I was doing. So some things never change. Let's see. Lauren says he's better at using the scroll saw. Spoon Man, come together with your hands. Hey, Mike. Afraid you will hurt yourself. I can't watch live. All right. Hey, no problem, Ozzy. I'm trying to be sure not to hurt myself. Trying to make sure I don't put myself in the path of the blade. But you never know. Accidents happen. Sometimes we get careless and just happens despite our best intentions. Here's where we're at so far. Quite a bit to go on carving this guy out. I wish I'd been monitoring the chat a little bit closer so that I knew at what point Ozzy was talking about that he was most concerned about me hurting myself. Could use a Forstner bit to help hogging out the middle. Okay, that's a good idea. I do have a drill press. Right there. And we even got a vise for the drill press. Right there. All ready. So let's see, is a 1 inch going to be too thick? Oh, that should be just about right. If I could figure out which direction to turn the chuck and get it plugged in. Let's see if I've got it centered. Looks good. All right. All right, let's try it. That's not in the vise very securely. All right, that should be better. Full of useless information. Hey, sometimes it's useful too. Don't sell yourself short. All right, and I think I'll get a narrower Forstner bit for this tip. Probably I'm too far over to that side. I should have been cutting it more over here. Or I should have just started with the 3/4 inch instead of the, oh, and you know what? I didn't even tighten the chuck there. But it has self-tightened, apparently. All right. Let's switch back to the, or switch down to the 3/4 inch. Test it. Tighten it down. Right. Now, if only I could use the Forstner bit on that side. Let's see. Do I want to go deeper than that? You know, really, that's not even past center point. Let me do it. Let me go deeper. Let's see here. Tighten that back up. Now we're talking. Make it a little easier on the chisels. Yep, it should indeed. Although I'm not sure I'm going to try using the chisels too much on hollowing this out. I might just need to get a proper um, carving gouge. Might also help if I sharpened the knife here. Let me at least strop it. And it's not like this is, a intentful carving knife. But blades can be used for all sorts of things. All right, let's see if that feels any better. Maybe. Feel like it's maybe taken more curls off than it did before. I keep wandering off camera, I think. I'm exerting a lot of pressure on the thumb of my offhand here. Yeah, this isn't exactly a green softwood. This is kiln dried maple. You know what might be easier than this? I wonder. I wonder. So I'm going to remove this belt. This is 150 grit. And let's see, what is the lowest grit that I got in this kit? I think it is 60. Put that back on. And I usually use my speed square to make sure that's on square, but I'm not really worried about that for this. And let's see. Oh, there it is. Thought I'd left this over at the workbench, but I did not. So turn on the vacuum and turn on the belt sander. Let's see what we can do. Oh, let's see. Do I have a Dremel? I don't have a Dremel, but I have a Dremel-like tool. So let me try this belt sander for a minute and see how that does, and then I can get out the rotary tools. All right, seems to be working all right. Sanding drum for Dremel or rotary tool, cool. No wonder it was hard to try to carve out the center. It's maple, yeah. Most spoons I've seen made of wood have been cedar, poplar, and or cherry. Yeah. Yep, this is maple. Smells pretty good though. Um, almost as good as cherry, I'd say. But cherry is still my favorite smelling wood to cut, stand, or whatever. Maybe they're better, but in my limited experience, I'd go with cherry still. All right. I'm just going to lop off the top here instead of trying to sand it off. There we go. Do All right, so I feel like that's shaped pretty well. I dinged up my sanded surface on the handle here a little bit, but that'll be all right. Then went a little thinner here than the rest of the handle. I've dipped in a little bit there because I cut this too thin with my Forstner bit being off-centered. Should have had it a little bit more toward this side. But maybe the biggest issue I see is that there's like a knot in there that comes through the other side. So um, there's a leak in my spoon. When I first saw this spot after using the Forstner bit, I thought maybe I just burned the wood a little bit with the Forstner bit going into, having it sit in the same spot too long or something. But no, that is not burn. It's just a dark knot that is causing a hole. I don't know if you can see the light coming through or not, but I can. Right through there. So I've got most of the old bandsaw marks off of here. There's still a few, especially right in there. There's the divot right there that I'm not sure if I want to bother trying to sand down to, especially considering that I've got a hole right there. I'm not sure if it's appropriate to use glue on something that could be, well, I would think it'd be okay once the glue is cured, that it'd be food safe. But I'm not sure if the spoon is going to be used for food anyway. But anyway, so those are my thoughts at this juncture. Move my miter saw out of the way here. Unplug it from the wall. All right, I'll bring you back over here. And I'm going to put this stuff away. The knife and the chisels. These are the marples, pre-Irwin marples with Sheffield steel from the UK. And with a lot of shavings from when I was trying to carve with the knife. Go. Got this set used. From some lady who is selling it. I also got this Stanley block pane from her. Don't really use it too much, but I can because I have it. All right, so let me put the mallets and hammer back up here. All right. Most spoon, okay, yeah. Hey, use what here, right? Turning out nice. Use some 2-part epoxy. Oh, okay, yeah. I've got plenty of epoxy, so I could do that. All right, let me get out my rotary tools. I never really think about the rotary tools. They're kind of hidden away here. And I've got a couple different sets. And When I bought the second, I thought it would be interchangeable. The parts would be interchangeable with the first. Alas, I was wrong. I got both of them from Harbor Freight for pretty cheap. This Warrior version was like $6 or something. And it came with, I think it was this kit. With, yeah, 35 pieces, 35 accessory pieces. But I think the Bauer is a little bit better. So I'm going to put the spoon back in the vise. All right. There we go. Huh. Lathe is down to just 56% now. All right. So I think this is the right fit. So sanding drum, is that what you were saying to use? I can try. Haven't really used this guy much. He doesn't seem to think that this maple carving thing is that easy. Hmm. I mean, I don't feel like I'm pressing that hard, but the tool definitely disagrees. I mean, that's definitely better, but what if there's another piece that will do better than that is? Let me try this guy. And plug him back in. Well, that doesn't seem to be doing much. See if this guy's any better. Well, so far, not so much. Seems like he just wants to, yeah, he does just want to come out. Maybe I'm not securing them in there properly. Maybe that's the issue. Am I supposed to be using a tool to tighten these with? I don't remember. I'm going to unplug it while I try to figure it out. Because that locks. Well, I'm doing something wrong, apparently. How is that supposed to lock in? If I just turn it, it spins freely. If I push that down, it doesn't spin at all. I would think it'd be like a router. When I push that in, it locks. That doesn't seem to be the case. Huh. Now this won't go in. So maybe... But isn't this the same size as that guy? That guy? Apparently not. I wonder if I'm using the wrong set here. Okay, because this is what was... This is what was in there to start with. Okay, there we go. That's working. I just wasn't pushing strong enough. I think these are the wrong kit. This guy... This guy goes to the Bower set, and the others must go to the Warrior. Okay, so let's try this guy. All right, he's actually pretty secure in there. It does lock it, so you can tighten the bit down. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it wasn't locking. And the reason was that I was using the wrong bits. I was using the bits for the Warrior instead of the bits for the Bower. So they're thinner. The shaft is thinner on the Warrior bits than on the Bower bits. So anytime I put any kind of pressure on it at all, it would just stop spinning. Well, it's actually doing something, but it's pretty slow. Let's see what else I've got in here. Try a different one of these sanding bits. Maybe I should unplug it and then use the appropriate button. I'm not a big fan of the placement. So this is on, and this is push so that you can remove the bit. So you have to remember the different color. They're just on opposite sides. So I just pushed this one thinking, oh, that's the one I need to push to release the bit. And no, that's the one to turn it on. So I was like turning it on and then bringing my hand near, and I was like, oh yeah, that's not good. All right. Oh, looks like I lost my connection for some reason. Let's see here. Close and reset. Let's see if that'll reconnect. Error. Nope. Oh, you know what? For some reason, my battery keeps getting drained when I'm doing these. So you know what? I think I'm going to call it good. So let me just switch over to the other camera here. And yeah, I don't know why it is this. I have it connected to the backup battery, so it shouldn't be dying. But just get that charging, and then let me see if this one still has a charge. Yeah, this one, I can never tell. It's the digits that don't read quite properly. I don't know if you can even read it at all. I can't tell if that's 36 or 96, maybe 86. Whatever it is, if this isn't 0, then that phone definitely shouldn't be dying. So unless this cable is faulty, frustrating. Very frustrating. All right. Well, I'm going to call it good. Thanks everybody for being here. We'll have to try your hand at the rotary tool a little bit more another time. I'm going to call it for the night. So thanks everyone for being here. Have a great night.